Prabhupada, tell us about when Gunagrahi Maharaj was leaving, your beloved Guru, Gunagrahi Maharaj.
Yes. So we would go to the hospice, and Maharaj had a nice room, and he had these nice devotees taking care of him, and it was kind of sad to see him suffering materially. You know, I mean, he couldn't even extend his legs. He had to have them folded, and then he had to have a belt around the top of his legs, you know, so they didn't. Anyway, he was in a lot of pain, you know, but he still had that kirtan going every night. You know, he loved that kirtan, man, and it was packed. You know, the one thing I really learned when I was there for those 3 weeks, because basically I'm a puffed up dude. Gurudev knows it. You know, I don't really think much of many people, but when I was there, I just saw how many people love Gurudev. That was my biggest impression on those whole 3 weeks, is how many people love Gunagrahi Goswami. So anyway, the last time I saw him was after the kirtan, and I knew that Gurudev's leaving because he can't talk anymore. He's just kind of laying in bed. And I went up to his pillow, to his ear. This was about 9 o'clock in the evening. Everybody's leaving. And I just said to him, I said, Gurudev, thank you for initiating me. You know, I kind of whispered it, you know, thank you for initiating me. And Gurudev started crying. Started crying. So that was my last experience with him. And you should have seen the last day. The last day, now that room was at least as big as this room, bigger. And it was packed. It was packed. I mean, I'm over here and I'm thinking, what if I gotta leave? It's going to take me like 15 minutes just to get through. You know, it was just packed. So then the next day after Gurudev left, then they put him in that glass casket that's refrigerated. And then, you know, Gurudev's got like his nostrils plugged up, you know, and his ears plugged up. This is just his body. Gurudev's gone, you know. But he's in the glass casket in his sannyasi. So then B.B. Goswami Maharaj is there, and another one of Prabhupada disciple is there. Very beautiful devotee. Wrote many things about Prabhupada. My glorious master, he wrote that, you know. So he was there. And then we're dressing Gurudev. Now he's getting changed. Because this is the last change, and then we're going to carry him to see Srila Prabhupada in the Samadhi, and then we're going to carry him to his Samadhi, and Gurudev's going to go in the ground. So while we're bathing Gurudev and redressing him, I was actually letting other devotees do it, but I was right there. So I nabbed Gurudev's Brahmin thread, because they changed it, and I nabbed the brand new chadar that they dried him off with, and then I kept getting his feet, and his feet were frozen. And I kept getting his feet, and I kept putting them on my head. You know what I mean? And I was chanting to Prabhupada. I kept saying, you know, Jai Prabhupada. I kept putting Gurudev's feet on my head, you know. So then we carry Gurudev over, and he has Srila Prabhupada's darshan at Srila Prabhupada's Samadhi, and then we take Gurudev over, and it's just packed. I mean, you can't even get in So I'm on the outside of the gate and I'm watching. Because I was a disciple, I could have got in there, down in the hole, Dharmaraj, he was in there, and the devotees that took care of Gurudev was in there. But, I'm a little wary of all the crowds, you know what I mean? So I'm on the outside, but it was good that I was. It was Krishna's mercy. Because that palanquin that we carried Gurudev over, it's a bamboo, like basic bamboo bed, and then it had a sheet on it, a saffron sheet, and I saw it, and it was leaning up against the fence. Yeah, so I went over, and there's like hundreds of devotees around, and I just went over, and I climbed over the fence. I jumped over the fence real quick, and I got that cloth, and I jumped back over, and I hightailed it. Man. I was like the thief, And you got that, and I got the Brahmin thread, and Rupa Goswami got the gumption.
Jai Gunagrahi Maharaj. Haribo! Gunagrahi Das Goswami. You got more?
Yeah, what I kept doing is because Gurudev would call me over when I first got there, and he'd ask me questions and how the family is. So one of the things he asked, did you ever meet my first wife, Deidre?
I feel like
She's such a sweetheart. So
I remember Deidre.
Yeah, so Gurudev was asking about everybody, asked about Wavisa, asked about Tulsi, so then he asked about Deidre. And I said, yeah, Maharaj, I said, everybody loves her, I said, she's so nice, everybody. You know what Gurudev said? Gurudev said, she was always so cool.
Yeah, she was. I remember.
Yeah, she was always so cool. So then what happened was, now Gurudev, he's laying in bed. I mean, his ribs, they're looking like valleys and mountains, you know what I mean? You can, So when Gurudev said that she's so cool, that I just spontaneously said, yeah, Gurudev, she didn't deserve Bhakti Mik. She deserved Prabhupada Das. Yeah. And when I said that, Gurudev just started cracking up. And he's on his deathbed, and he just started cracking up. And he's laughing. And then he goes, you got to tell her that. Promise me you're going to tell her that. So I'm thinking, well, how am I going to tell her? She's somebody else's wife for 35 years. I don't ever see her, you know what I mean? No, you got to tell her that. You promise?
Did you tell her, Prabhupada?
No, I didn't get to. I
She's
mentioned
on
it to
Facebook.
Tulsi.
You get Facebook Messenger, right?
Yeah, I told Tulsi last year, maybe I got back. But yeah, so at some time, because I promised Gurudev I have to. But so Gurudev's laying in the bed and he's calling me over, and the whole time he's holding my hand. Now I grew up crazy. I grew up in orphanages, reform schools. I really don't like people touching me. I have a hard time. It's just my mind is nuts. So and he's got my hand, and he's holding it for minutes. So I didn't know what to do. So I kept taking his hand and putting it on my eyes and my forehead. I kept going like this. You know what I mean? And he's quizzing me. But that's probably the biggest thing I took away from those 3 weeks there, because I was nervous in Vrindavan because it's a little bit loud, and it's a little bit crowded, and I'm a Kali Yuga, I need Panchatattva, you know what I mean? And I'm in Vrindavan. Who am I offending? I know I'm offending somebody. Somebody I know, at least somebody, But that was my biggest thing that I took out of those last 3 weeks, was how many people loved my dear Gurudev, His Holiness Gunagrahi Goswami. How many people actually loved him? I mean, loved him. I mean, that room was packed with young, old. I think his last day there must have been a dozen sannyasis around his bed. and your painting was right there. You know, I was standing right next to it.
Yeah.
And you heard about that dream that Ladali's husband had, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say it, Prabhupada.
Yeah. So I heard it through the grapevine, but what I heard is that Gurudev, who is a great well-wisher of Ladali's husband, my 70-year-old brain, what's his name?
Mahabharata.
Yeah, I know it was B. Okay, Mahabharata Prabhu, who's just great soul. Gurudev appeared to him in a dream, and Gurudev said, "It's great here. It's just like Prabhupada's books. Just like Prabhupada says in his books." So that's what we got to look forward to.
He also said to tell Pavamana that he told Mahabharata to tell Pavamana this, what he said in his dream. And there's something.
Yeah.
Should I tell about that?
Yeah, dude.
Well, maybe you hold it just real steady on me. Well, first I want to add that what Prabhupada said about everybody being there, and I guess Prabhupada, you came there 3 weeks before, so I must have been gone a couple weeks, maybe a month or 5 weeks before we had left. And when I left, Brajendra Kumar and I left. He said, Yudhisthira, stay, you know. And I had a knee surgery. My knee was in really bad shape. I was really sick with that Lyme's disease at this time, and I regret this to the day. I said, because I had a knee surgery lined up that I'd been waiting for almost a year to get. You have to wait, and I should have stayed. And he said, I said, no, I have to go, Maharaj. And then he looked, and he was teared up, and he said, "What if nobody's here when I leave?" he said. And then you just heard Prabhupada just, telling about it. Everybody was there when he left. And that procession on Facebook, my daughter Prema was watching it. So it was as they were showing. I couldn't watch it at the time. I just couldn't do it. But, when they took him around, they were carrying him, and there was someone who took a drone shot, and it was just this massive crowd of all of Vrindavan was out there, and then the point about Pavamana, when Pavamana and I were, and I hope Pavamana doesn't mind me saying this, when Pavamana and I were at Bhaktivedanta Hospital taking care of Maharaj, and we moved him to Chowpatty, at one point, Maharaj gave Pavamana really heavy sauce about how, anyway, I hope Pavamana doesn't mind, but he was just saying about how Pavamana should, that there's no excuse, he should do his service and to do it, which Pavamana does anyway. Pavamana is such a humble, surrendered soul, but he's always saying he's not. But Maharaj got real heavy with him, and it bugged, Pavamana he thought about it all the time, which means he thought about Maharaj and Krishna. And Maharaj was his Shiksha Guru, and so then in the dream, he kind of let him off the hook by saying that. First of all, Pavamana doesn't think like that. He just thinks, I'm so fallen, but he's such a sweetheart, wonderful devotee. And there was another point I wanted to make, but I can't remember what it was. But anyway, this is far out. Vrndavana Swami was there, he left a couple hours before Maharaj left or something. He had something that they just kept bugging him. He stayed days and days when he had a commitment that everybody wanted him to do, which was take care of his health, his own health, which he hardly ever does, And so when we saw him after Gunagrahi Maharaj left, he told Radhadasi and I, he waited till he saw us in person. He visited us, and he said, one of the last things I told Gunagrahi Maharaj, whispered to him when he left, was that Yudhisthira and Radhadasi love you very much and are so grateful for everything you've done for them. And we didn't even ask him to say that. He just said, I knew you'd want me to say that. I guess that's it. So we'll end it there.
Yeah, what his